Say action. Action.
Do that. Can you go action?
Yeah.
Hi. Good morning. Good morning.
It's a John and Chuck show.
It's a John and Chuck show.
Acceleration Day.
It's Acceleration Day.
Here
What's our topic today? I love that. This is one of my favorite parts of sales, this piece right here, because I think it's one of the most overlooked pieces. People take it for granted. They don't know how to use it properly. So I love talking about it. And I'll let you tell them what we're talking about.
You want me to roll it up?
I'm too excited to roll it up. I'm too excited.
Chuck's so excited. He's just giddy beyond himself, beside himself, or whatever it is. So we're talking about tie downs today. And tie downs are, there's three probably key things. Whatever business you're doing, selling, because whether you're a doctor or whether you're in the Visa MasterCard business selling insurance or providing a service, it all comes down to you're never going to be able to sell or provide the service or or get the product across unless you sell or market. So everything is sales and marketing. And in marketing, that's a different topic. But when marketing is really designed to get to get in front of somebody. Right. Sales is where you turn the getting in front of somebody into money. And in sales, there's rapport and relationship, which is monstrous. If you're it doesn't matter how good you are at most things, if they don't like you, they're not going to buy. Right. But most people are okay at rapport. But the thing that separates the people who struggle versus the people that excel is this little understanding of almost like watching, because you're kind of watching yourself do the deal, right? And you're strategically putting in these, because some people have a tough time when they're in it too. But if you kind of step back and strategically go, okay, I'm going to put a couple things in here because there's a pattern, right? You always talk about cookie cutter, and one of the magic things in selling is a tie down, and
it gives you leverage. See, everything is leverage. That's what people have to understand. When you go in, there's no leverage yet. I mean, they may have responded to marketing. They may have listened to you because they like you or whatever it is. So how do you gain and build leverage throughout that sales process? The only way to do it is tie downs. Right. That's it.
So we should go through, because people think because you're looking for things really what we're talking about is that whole, you're kind of you're seeking agreement to key issues, you're getting yeses, however you want to say it. Most people think, and this is kind of, take a moment and think about this for a minute. Most people think in traditional sales, they go, well, you want to get 12 yeses along the way. Or, and of course you want to get yeses because it's just them agreeing with you. Right. They're pairing a yes with your face, yes with your face. But the magical thing that people have a tough time articulating, which we're going to try to do our best here today, is not that it's like a behind the scenes kind of layer. It resides back here. You put it in up front so that if you need to, you can use it later.
Exactly.
But if you don't put it in, you can't get the leverage later that you need. Right. Hey, if I could, would you, is a tie down. And then later, then when they say no to whatever it is, or I have to think about it, then you can say, well, you did say. So let's run through how to actually.
So let's look at the process. Well, let's break down the process. And some of you are new and haven't done it yet, and a lot of you guys have lived this process, probably seen some things fall through because you didn't get your leverage and you didn't get the tie downs that you need. So when we approach the merchant, obviously the rapport is the biggest piece. I mean, you got to have the rapport, because that's the only way you'll be able to tie people down is get rapport. You got to have questions, and number one, ask questions. So our process, we go out, we want to get 2 months worth of merchant statements from the merchant.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm just going to take off track.
No, it's good.
We'll stick on time.
So obviously there's things that I'm saying to get the statements. I would imagine if I could put more money back in your business, that would help you, wouldn't it? Yes, great. Hey, let's do this. Why don't you give me a copy of your last 2 months merchant statements? I'll fax them into my underwriters, and I'll really push them hard to get you a great deal. But when I do that, let me ask you, would you be ready to move right away? I mean, you did say earlier that you wanted to put more money back in your business, right?
Right.
So naturally you'd want to start saving money right away? Because I'm going to push the underwriters to get you a good deal. And if you're not ready, I'm not going to go hang my rear end on the line for you if you're not ready to move. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Give me a better deal and I'm done. As long as it doesn't, do I have to get new equipment?
No, we'll go through the program for you. Okay. So you know what, you're going to get better service than you get today. He's like, so we'll be working together. So better service than you get today and put more money back in your pocket. You want to move on that, right? Okay, so there's my tie down, whatever fashion that comes, and it's going to come. There's a lot of things that go on to get here, but most important is when you get those statements in your hand. You can't do this before you get the statements because they're too slippery yet. Then they may not give you the statements because you're tying them down right here. But once they hand you the statement, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, he's handing me the statement because he wants to save money and he wants to move forward with me. So in my mind, this deal's done already. It's sold. The only thing I have to do is I just have to come in and show them the numbers that work. So I'm not nervous about that because I know I'm going to make the numbers work. This deal's already sold. And this is where it should be sold.
Exactly.
You're not selling it later. This is sold right here.
And this is the difference between what we found to write a lot of business versus, I mean, literally 3-4 times more business. This is the key right here. It's sold. Thank you. Read my mind, man. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. I like this one.
So this is the difference. This is what most people think sales is they go out and they get statements and go, hey, you know what? I'll go out and see if we can get you something better.
See if we can sell you. I'm going to get these to see if I can sell you later. No. We've already cut through. And like I said, there's things that have gone on. The equipment's probably been talked about before now. We've talked about operational, how things work. We talked all about this stuff. So now it boils down to one thing. So if I can do all these things that we've talked about, the same equipment, same better service than you get today, and I can put more money back in your pocket, you're ready to move forward, right?
Right.
Okay, because we've covered all that stuff. So there's my tie down. This is the most important tie down you're ever going to do in this sales process in this industry is when you get the statements in your hand. Okay, so then what you do is you leave and and here's why it's important. We're going to fast forward. Excuse me. I've sent the statements in. I've gotten the numbers. I've come back to my merchant. And I need to start presenting. And I start it the same way every time. I don't care if they've got the absolute best deal I've ever seen or the absolute worst deal I've ever seen. I always start it the same way.
So hold on a second. When you go back every time, you say it the same way every time?
The exact same way every time.
The exact same way every time. And he's actually not lying because
you've heard me do it.
I've heard him do this thousands of times. And it's true. You always go back. This is the cool thing about this. Is you can just do it all the same all the time.
Right. Well, you figure out what works and then you cookie cut it. If I know this works, why change it? Right? It works tremendously well. So
wait a second. So whether I know this person or not, if it's a warm market or a call,
I don't care if this is my mother, if this is my brother, I don't care who it is. If this is someone I've only spoke to the one time when I met them up front because they were a referral, it's the same approach every time.
I just want to make sure. So you're saying do it the same thing every time.
I think, did we get that? Okay. All right. So when I go back to the merchant, I go, you know what, John, I really appreciate the opportunity in your business. I ran this by the underwriters. You know what? You weren't getting that bad of a deal, but you probably deserve a phenomenal deal, right?
Yeah.
Bingo. What did I just do? I tied John down. So he's going, yes, I deserve a phenomenal deal. That little sentence right there is what I do. And I've written 1,000 accounts, and this is exactly how I did each one of them. Said that exact same thing right there. And then you go through the statement. We like to lay the statement down in front of the merchant and show them like, here's what you're paying now. I'm sure you'd much rather pay this, wouldn't you? Yes, of course, tie down again. So I'm tying him down throughout this process, and each one's a little different. So we'll give you the language to use here. And then great, all I need to do to get things going for you, John. Then I reach over and I grab my paperwork and I go, what's the legal name of the business?
ABC Cycles.
Right, ABC Cycles. As soon as you get that, it's sold already because I've used my tie downs throughout the process. So it's sold. As soon as they tell you what the business name is, in their mind, they're moving forward. So let's talk about why we want to make sure we do all these things besides just that. What happens at this point that we need that leverage that we've talked about?
I think I need to think about it.
The most dreaded objection that it doesn't matter what industry you're in, everybody in sales period has heard, I need to think about it. Right here, this is a real crucial point. And this is what we've done prior to this point by saying, especially when you handed me the statements, I said, if I could, would you, right? We can move forward today. And yeah, of course. So why on God's green earth would I be getting an I need to think about it right now? Understand that. So right here, I can say, well, you know what, John, when we spoke earlier, you did say that if I got you a better deal than what you had, because you appreciated that we could do all these things for you, that we could move forward, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Let's just move forward. If any questions come up, feel free, you can contact me anytime. So what's the legal name of the business?
ABC Cycles.
ABC Cycles. Because understand, they know that, yes, you know what? I did say that. In 60, 70% of people, when you call, I don't want to say you're calling them out, but you're just reminding them. You're holding their feet to the fire. They're reminding them of what they agreed to in the past. When you do that, they're going to pull through for you. Granted, there's 30 to 40% that still will give you the I need to think about it, and we can touch base on that, overcoming objections on another call. So let's look at this scenario a second. There will be times, especially when you're new, and you get the statements, you're so excited, you just like grab the statements and you run out the door, you go, oh, I didn't get the tie down. Or you're with a customer, or the customer comes in, you're getting ready to tie the merchant down as you get statements. He goes, hey, yeah, just let me know what you can do for me later. And he's with the customer, he's going to be there a while, and you didn't get the tie down.
You got to leave.
And you got to leave. I mean, it's going to be weird.
No tie down and you're gone.
Yeah, no tie down, you're gone. This is going to happen. Okay.
It happens.
It happens a lot because business happens.
Yeah, life happens.
No fret, mo frere. I don't even know what that means. No, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
It's
okay. So it's something. So that's fine. So what you're going to do later, before you go through all this energy, and you're not going to go back and pitch numbers yet, not until you have this thing tied down. So what you're going to do at this point is you're going to give the merchant a little time because he's with the customer, and you're going to, excuse me, you're going to call the merchant back. Call him on the phone and go, hey,
ABC Cycles.
Hey, ABC Cycles, is this Chuck we were talking earlier? How's it going?
Yeah, good, good.
Hey, I got a couple good questions for you. I can't read my writing, and I wasn't sure. Now, you said that terminal was an FD50, right?
Yep. FD50.
Okay, and I already know the answer. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he already, right.
I already know the answer. I don't even really care. These first two questions, I don't even care. I mean, I could call and go, hey, well, how much was that FZ100 on the, it doesn't matter. And then, okay, and then I ask one more question. I try to make it at least two questions.
So make it like equipment. It's an easy one. Like, hey,
equipment's easy.
You know what? I wrote down FD, but was it a 50 or 100? You already know it's a 50.
Yeah, right? You already know. It doesn't matter.
And then the other one's like, did you say? And you have statements, so you've got to come up with something else.
Say, like, did you own that? I couldn't remember. Do you own that, or do you lease it, or do you?
Or
rent
you can
it?
ask, are you at all seasonal? Something. You're just coming up with something because you don't.
Those are. He wants to sell me. I love tie downs, dude.
Well, this is how you make money doing this.
This is where the rubber hits the road.
Yeah.
Okay. And you ask a couple questions that are really kind of meaningless, because it kind of gets the merchant softened up to answer your questions. And then you go, great. Hey, I've sent these statements into the underwriters. Things are looking really good. I'm going to call the underwriter back, but I'm really going to put the screws to him for you. And when I do that, can we move forward right away?
So now he's asking me the tie down that he didn't have the opportunity to.
Right. So I call back. What you don't want to get in the habit of, and we see a lot of new agents that they do this because they're excited. Look, I've been there. I get it too. What they do is they never get that tie down. They never get the, like, we can move forward right away, right? Or maybe if you're more comfortable, you can say, is there anything that would prohibit us from moving forward then? Because at that point, if you get an answer to something, then you need to rectify it right there. You don't want to run and get the numbers and go through all this labor for yourself to come back and not have this solidified. So call them, ask a couple simple questions that really don't mean a whole lot. It'll soften them up. And then you want to get the tie down. I've always liked the story that's always worked well for me, because I want the merchant to understand that I'm championing their cause. I'm on their side. Hey, I'm really going to push the underwriter for you. I'm going to beat them up to get you a great deal. I'm going to put myself on the line. But hey, you wouldn't, ask me to do that, would you, if you weren't ready to commit, right? So you want to kind of set it up that way, and then yeah, we can move forward. Great. Now I have my leverage, and with that leverage, you're going to close 2-3 times the deals that you're going to, probably 3-4 times the deals than you would without the leverage.
And that's it.
So
what if there's anything that we wanted to, we talked a lot and we threw all kinds of stuff in there.
Right.
What do you want to leave people with? Is there like you got to get tie downs, because when you get tied, and we've seen, for the last 20 years that we've done this, or 20, however many, the difference between success, a lot of success versus struggle. And it's a clear difference. It's either, if you want to struggle, if you don't do a tie down, it's like, and it's better. Is it better? I'm trying to say two things at one time. If you don't do a tie down, no matter what you sell, you're going to struggle.
Right.
And you're never going to understand why. You never get beyond the struggle. And that's one of the reasons that people in sales, some people in sales, like, oh, I'm just not a salesperson. Well, no, it's just nobody ever told you to use a tie down.
Right.
And so it's just, and sometimes people are just uncomfortable asking a tie down, like, hey, and that's why we turn it into a little story, like, hey, I'm going to go champion for you. I'm going to put myself on the line. So I feel more comfortable softening it up a little bit, like, hey, I'm going to go to those guys, and you know how underwriters are at banks. But I want to have them give you the best numbers, and so when I go there, so you have this little bit of a story.
Stories are good too, and you know what, and quite frankly, I think everyone appreciates that, because then they understand that you're working for them. You know, they go, you know what, okay, so you're going out and you're working it for me.
Yeah, we're on the same team, rather than going, I'm going to sell you, I'm going to sell you. No, together, we're going to go get you a better deal.
Exactly. And those are words you want to use. We are going to get you a better deal. You want to use things that put you on the same side of the fence as your customer.
Exactly.
You know, you don't want to be on the other side.
When I go talk to those greedy bastards,
those underwriters,
we're gonna go forward.
Work them over.
Yeah.
You know, so use that. I mean, quite frankly, it makes your life so much easier. Because most people always get to the dreaded, I got to think about it. Oh yeah.
And this eliminates, like Chuck said, about 60% of the time, it doesn't even come up.
You know, next week we should talk about is objections.
Okay.
We should talk. We'll teach you how to get around that. I need to think about it and uncover them, get around it, and then get more sales.
Yeah.
But use those tie downs.
If there's any one thing, if there's really any one thing that you can go, I want to install today to make my world and my wallet fatter.
Yeah, my world fatter.
I'm going to make my world fatter. It's tie downs. I mean, experiment with it, try it, because it's like guaranteed. There are not many guarantees in life, but I'd have to guarantee that if you use tie downs, it will make, and granted, like anything, you want to practice it to get it, to make it a skill, right? Exactly. When you get skilled, I mean, he's done it thousands and thousands of times, and when you first start, it might feel a little awkward.
Wasn't that skilled in the beginning?
No, he was bumbling.
I was. Hey, you saw it. But you know what? I figured it out. You'll figure it out. You'll make it work really well for you, and you'll write 3-4 times the business, and you'll reap all the rewards that come along with being more successful in whatever you're doing.
So let me ask you, if I can show you how to write 3-4 times more business,
would I apply it?
Would you apply it?
Absolutely.
Let me teach you about tie down.
All right, there you go. All right, guys, thanks for coming. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.